Good. So today we're going to do, I sometimes call it the magic neck release. But the truth is that it's not magic because there's two things we look at when we think of the correlation between our feet, our toes, and our neck. And the first one is that we have nerves, and all of our nerves have to go from our beautiful big brains down through our spinal column. So we call that the central nervous system. And then in the case of the legs and all the way down to the toes, the furthest reaches from our body, they go out to the periphery. And like any other part of our body, the nerves, if we sit too much or don't do a lot of movement, will kind of get stuck. We use terms like impingement. So when we do this movement, we're what we say flossing or moving the nerves, and it's a minuscule amount. Don't think we're sliding them all over the place, but we do have the ability to think of nerves like taffy, like tight taffy on a cold day. But there is just that little bit of stretch in play. So that's one reason why this magic trick works. The other one is that there is a very clear correlation between back and neck pain and limited mobility in the ankles and feet. A lot of that is because of what we call the superficial back line of our body, so the fascial line. And take a moment to think in yourself or even touch these parts. The superficial back line starts in the creases of your toes at the bottom of your foot, and then it goes through each foot. You may have had plantar fasciitis, and you know what that feels like. That fascial tissue is quite famous. And then it goes through the heel, up the entire calf, which calves will cause the fascial tissue to be tight in the foot, all the way through the back of the knee, through the backs of the thighs, the buttocks, through your back and spine, and comes up and actually comes to your brow point. So this is the fascial tissue. We also have muscles that connect not from the feet to the neck, but from the pelvis to the neck. Absolutely, lots of muscles. So when we do this movement, we're also encouraging that superficial back line to release, because let's do a little experiment here. And stand up if you will, please, and join me. I really enjoy watching people walk on sand, because if you have limited mobility in your ankles, it's really difficult to hide it when you're in the sand. But let's, for all intents and purposes, please, I encourage you to take your shoes off for this one if you don't have them off. Let's try to walk without moving the ankles. And as you're doing that, I want you to keep your weight in the heels. So when you're stepping, let the weight distribute from heel to ball of the foot, and move your ankles as little as possible. And notice where the weight of your head goes. So if you're walking on your heels, can you sense the way we don't want you to fall back, you got to keep your knees a little bent, but can you feel the way that your shoulders, the whole line of your spine, falls towards that posterior side, your back chain, right? Just because you're limiting your ankle movement, and we're way in the back seat. It's really hard. You're probably trying to pull yourself forward. And now let's still limit the ankle mobility, but instead of going onto the heels, come on to the balls of the feet. And walk on the balls of your feet a little bit. You're still going to get your heels down, but it's easier usually to keep the ankles more still here. But walk on the balls of the feet and notice how your head position has changed. So your center of gravity, we might say, has gone forward. If I can see you, you probably have more of a head forward position now, maybe even the shoulders rounded. The pelvis might take that dog tail tucking under, all because your weight is in the front of the feet and you're limiting the mobility in your ankles. So this may seem really far-fetched to you, but I want you to consider that we're not born with shoes on. We're born with feet that are meant to feel the ground. They are literally our feelers for the spine. And we put shoes on them. It's like walking around with ear mufflers on all the time. And we walk on flat surfaces if we're not sitting all day. So the feet don't get to hydrate, they don't get to move, they don't get to play and feel and give that feedback not only to the back line of your fascial areas, but your whole body. So this trick today is really about finding your center, and we'll do it again at the end, but I want you to take a moment now and feel the arch of your foot and center yourself. Think of, I say it's the hill. You want to walk on the hill of your foot. And if you imagine your feet were like big clown shoes, we don't want to walk on the front of the clown shoes, right? That's like empty airspace. We also don't want to be way in the back of the clown shoe. So we walk on the hill, the arch. And now, let your ankles move to whatever degree they feel comfortable. And just over-exaggerate that ankle movement. So go over the hill, let your ears, think of your ears over your shoulders, shoulders over your hips, and your juicy diaphragms right in the middle of the two girdles. But let yourself play with how far can you go into, so as you come onto the ball of the foot, that is your plantar flexion. And then you'll notice as you step the foot forward, we have to come into dorsiflexion. The top of the foot will come up. Just exaggerate that a little bit and see, what is your ankle mobility? What does it feel like to really, truly let your ankles move a little bit? And where does your head ride when you do that? All right. So we'll do this again afterwards, just as a little notice where you are. But we're going to come down onto the ground. I invite you to take a blanket down if you'd like for more padding. You're welcome to put anything underneath your knees that you'd like to, or that blanket underneath your head. And, I did forget. Please forgive me. Some of you may want a strap. I'm going to go off camera here. Back with my strap. So you may want a strap. Robe belt works just fine. And let your feet come onto the ground. So bend your knees. And we'll just do a little bit of preparation, because sometimes the ankles are stinkers and they're sticky. So letting your feet come down, just feel the way your feet are touching the ground. And you might have heard, it's a big thing now, people will go earthing, walk barefoot in nature. Super delicious, not just for your feet, but for your whole being. So you could even imagine as your feet are resting, what surface are they resting on? Maybe you're on a rock somewhere overlooking a beautiful mountain view. Or you might be on a beach in the sand, in the woods, by a lake. What surface? Baby grass underneath your toes and your feet. Pick a surface that makes you feel relaxed and calm, and let your feet rest on that surface. And include in that imagery not just what you visualize, but wherever you are, wherever your feet have literally landed in your mind's eye. Is there a smell, a taste, a sound? Create some imagery around where your feet are resting. And just note that your neck is in a comfortable position. What we do want to try to avoid today is that the head's not too far up, what I call pillow head. So if I were to take this bolster, my head would be up here, and you'll notice that my throat is shorter than my neck. I've actually lost the natural curve in my neck. So I have just enough blanket underneath me to where I'm comfortable, throat is still open, and the back of the neck has its natural curve. I typically am actually better without anything, but for you, that's where you want to go. So then we're going to start with the left leg. It seems like the left has been starting everything this week so far. Maybe we'll switch it next time. We're going to take the strap to the back of the thigh, right on the meaty part of your hamstrings. And then let the lower leg dangle. Place your knee right on top of the front of the hip, so your thigh bone is 90 degrees from the floor. So in other words, not back here. And you can just hold that. Let your lower leg dangle, and then we'll just go into the knee a little bit because the hamstrings otherwise will be grumpy. But you're going to begin to inhale and extend up with the lower leg, and exhale and slowly come down. And think of moving from your foot, even though it's a knee movement, bending and flexing the knee. You could push through the heel, you could reach through your toes. We're just kind of preparing that back line, that fascial area in the back. And then next time you take it up, check to see that it's comfortable, there's not too much pull for you. Keep your low back relaxed, and we're going to take the foot into a position of plantar flexion, which means you're going to reach the top of the foot away from you, or reach the ball of the foot towards the sky, and then just begin to wiggle the toes a little bit and see how much sensation is there. Can you notice the way the sole of the foot is tightening, the top of the ankle is opening up, and just see how that feels? Playing with your toes. Keep your neck relaxed. So one of the things I'll do throughout this work is just let the head gently roll from side to side or back and forth. It's just indicative to me that the head and the neck are relaxed. And if you're holding that strap, you're not holding on for dear life. Your elbows can relax. Release the foot. And then bring the foot into the dorsiflexion. So draw the top of the foot towards your shin. You're going to feel more of a stretch in your Achilles and the back of the calf. So for a lot of us, this is where we're tight. Limited dorsiflexion will cause that pain in the spine, including the neck. But go as far as you can comfortably, and then just move the toes again. So keep the ankle in dorsiflexion. And let the toes create sensations in the foot, the shin, the calf. So you might feel your calf stretching, your shin compressing. You can move the toes any way you want. Keep the head and neck relaxed, the shoulders, and then let that go. And then we're just going to go between plantar flexion, I like to do that on an inhale, and releasing, and dorsiflexion on inhale, and releasing. So I'm inhaling plantar flexion, exhale, release, inhale, dorsiflexion, exhale, release. Now, the one day we did a string from our tail to our tongue. Now I want you to imagine a string from your toes to your tongue. And as you come into the plantar flexion, let your nose, so think of moving from your nose, not your chin, but bring your nose towards your toes as you breathe in, and then release. And then let your toes follow your nose. Take your nose back as you come into plantar flexion, and release. And just doing that a few times. So it's like the toes, nose, what the nose knows, and the toes and the nose are following each other. I don't know what that actually means. It just came out that way. And you might even feel the way the base of the skull, that occiput, is sliding. And you can move from your nose. You can also move from the base of the skull, because you've got the ground there to feel. Taking just a few more. This is our warm-up. Feeling the back line of the legs. And then we'll take that one down. Let the foot come down. Maybe take your legs out long, just for even 5 breaths. And come into that space of grace, everything relaxed and supported. And that magic moment of feeling yourself from your toes to wherever you feel it, through the leg line, through your head and your neck, just comparing your right and your left. Okay. So remember, I know sometimes I've been getting a lot of comments that this is very slow, and that's hard for many of you. So your superpower is the ability to stop and feel when you're not moving, to feel the difference. That's the whisper in your body. So let's try the other side. You can place your feet on the ground. It'll be the right leg coming in this time. You're welcome to put a strap around the meaty part of the hamstring, so just not on the knee joint. And bring the thigh so it's 90 degrees from the floor. Low back is relaxed. And just hold it there with just enough force, but let your shoulders relax, your neck. And then as you breathe in, reach through the foot. Extend the leg, and breathe out and come down. I find this part's necessary just to give our hamstrings a little warm up. Otherwise, unless you've done lots of down dogs today, they might be a little bit grumpiness in the back of the hamstrings. So letting them stretch, wake up. But move from your foot and move from different parts of the foot. What happens if you extend your knee from the ball of the foot? Does that feel different than extending from your heel or the arch of the foot? What about coming down, toes first? So where you initiate the movement from in your mind's eye can make it feel different. Opening up that superficial back line. And then see if you can find a happy space to keep the leg extended. So if you're way back here, push the thigh bone more forward so you can get more extension through the knee. So if we're back here, we're going to have to keep the knee bent, right? So keep that straight. And then take the foot or the ankle into plantar flexion. So reach the ball of the foot up and just keep the ankle in the plantar flexion and move your toes. There can be a lot going on there. Notice the spaciousness you're creating in the front of the ankle and the top of the foot, and the tightness in the sole of the foot. You might feel the way the calf muscle is compressed and the shin muscles are stretching. And then just switch that around, draw the top of the foot toward your shin, and move your toes again. So do your best to keep the ankle in that position of dorsiflexion and just play with moving your toes any way you want. And now sense the stretch in the back line of the leg, the compression in the front, including the ankle, the top of the foot. And then let that go. So now we'll go through the plantar flexion and dorsiflexion and think toes to tongue. So as you reach the top of the foot on an inhale, bring the nose towards your chin. Nose towards your chest. Exhale, just release it to wherever it naturally goes. Inhale, take your nose back. Draw the top of the foot towards your shin. And exhale, release. Really simple. If you feel like you get more idea of what you're feeling by closing your eyes, I invite you to do that. Especially with this one, because otherwise we tend to watch our toes like it's really exciting, right? Close your eyes and feel it. And just this little tiny movement of the head going back and forth, toes following nose, and nose following toes. All right, last one. And then we'll take that down. Okay, so that was all the warm-up. This next part, I'm going to invite you to do it seated, but know that you can also do it laying down once you get good at it. You can also do it, I think in my video on YouTube, I do it, one of my videos at least, I do it with my back up against a wall. And that's a nice way to go because you can feel the relationship between the base of the skull and your sacrum. So that is another option for you. I'm going to come slightly forward. Before we move at all, from a side position, I just want to show you, so if we want to map out our head and how we most comfortably move our neck, if you start at the base of your skull, what we would say if you had a low ponytail, draw a line around to the front of your face, so it'll go underneath your ears, and notice you'll end up right below the nose. So I want you to at least consider the space from the low ponytail to the nose, so ponytail, nose, and everything above it is the skull. That's how we move our neck. So if I move from my neck, my whole head goes forward, and there's a lot of pressure and weight that goes into the back of the neck. They supposedly say 10 pounds for every inch forward. If I move from my skull, there's a tilt of the nose, but my whole head doesn't come forward. So that's what we're looking for. It's just that little tilt. And then the tilt up. Okay, so that's the movement for the neck when we get into it. And just practice that for a second. We're not coming forward. We're moving from the ponytail nose, or I like to think even of the soft palate. You can move from your soft palate, the roof of the mouth. And if you think this is a crazy idea, move from your chin. And feel the difference. What does it feel like to move from your chin? Even make circles from your chin for a moment. How does that sit with you, circling from your chin? And then how does it sit with you to circle from the nose or the base of the skull, the soft palate? Maybe the movements are smaller, but are they more graceful? Okay, so then we're going to do our assessment. I know Victoria's on with me, and I remember I forgot the assessment when I did this in my class. I will never forget the assessment again, because that's the magic. So you're going to sit with your feet on the ground and give yourself a little hug and let your head just fall forward. So almost allowing yourself to just collapse with gravity. Let your body be held by gravity. And then begin to slowly lift your head up and think of lifting from your skull. And go as far as you can upward without force. So not forcing it back, go as far as you can. And just notice where your eyes land, how high up. And hopefully there's some little mark or some sort. I've got all kinds of wood knots on my ceiling, but something on your ceiling that you can remember so you know how far back your head goes for you and what it feels like. And then we'll take the head back. So if you're not sitting against a wall, you can take your hands behind you and support yourself either on the palms of the hands or fists. And we're going to start with the right leg this time. And your left leg you can keep bent, or if you want to take it out straight, you're welcome to put something underneath it. But we're going to work with the right leg. So doing just the foot first. Make sure I'm all the way in screen. I think I need to move back. And this is another one. You can't have socks on, but you want to have a little bit of a slippery surface. So, right foot. You're going to slide it out. And then once you slide it out, reach the toes. So you're coming into, reach the toes towards the ground. You're coming into that plantar flexion. So the arch of the foot will tighten and shorten. It's like the tops of the toes are trying to touch the ground. And then release that. Then slide the foot towards you. Press the ball of the foot into the ground and lift your toes just a little bit. And then let that go. So you slide the foot away. Reach the toes away so you're coming into plantar flexion. And you can go as far out as you want. And then release that. Slide the foot towards you, push into the ball of the foot, lift the toes. And let it go. And just do that a few times. Reaching toes away. And notice what you feel through your foot, your ankle, your leg, and then we'll add the head. So remember, you're moving from your skull. As the toes, let the toes and the nose have that spring between them again. So as the toes reach away, bring your nose slightly towards your chest. So not head forward, nose towards the chest. Release that. Slide it towards you. As the toes lift up, lift your gaze just a little bit and release that. So toes away, nose towards toes. Again, I encourage you to try this with both eyes opened and closed. Sometimes we feel more with the eyes closed, but you could also lead with your eyes. Try that. Windows to the soul. And take one or two more this way. And so think as we're doing this, what we're doing is one end of the nerves are getting a little bit of a tug. So in this case, the foot. Not tugging both ends yet. And then we're going to switch it. We're going to tug both ends. So now as you extend the foot out and reach the ball of the foot towards the ground, take your gaze upward. So think of stretching your nerves at both ends, at the foot and in the neck. Release that. Draw the foot in, lift the toes, and look down at the toes. And release that. So you're creating space from the toes to the neck. Releasing. Think of compressing, bringing your gaze down at your toes. Your toes are really interesting, right? Let them go. Do it with your eyes closed too. Do Do one more like this. And then I'm going to add, oops, I have to think about it. I'm going to add my little signature move in here because I like this one for the neck too. This, right now we're doing the back and forth, but I like to open the sides of the neck too. So now you're going to take your right leg out long and begin to draw the big toe side of the foot towards the inner calf. So that's inversion of the ankle. Just do that a few times, see how that feels. Inversion. And then as you invert, you can just look at it right where it is. So just kind of leaning over, you'll notice that you'll get a little stretch through the right side of the neck. Or if you want, you can invert and slide the foot and really look at the sole of your foot. So interesting, right? So you're sliding on the pinky toe side and then take it back. The other way we go is to feel the pinky toe side of your foot. Draw the pinky toe side of your foot towards your outer calf. Your peroneal nerve will tighten up there. A little compression there. And just do that a few times. So that's your eversion of the ankle. And then once you find that eversion, same thing. You can just sort of lean over like you're trying to see the pinky toe side of your foot, and you'll feel the stretch through the left side of the neck. Or if you want a little more, evert the foot. Remember to evert the foot first. Slide it towards you. Look at the sole of your foot. Slide it back. So I'm getting a little bit stuck on my mat here. I'm going to fold it up. So this one goes like this. I get my left leg out of the way. Invert, slide, look for that piece of gum on your shoe. Slide it back out, relax it. Evert, slide, look for that piece of toilet paper on your foot. Slide it back out. I hope you like my imagery today. And there's obviously benefits here too for all the joints in the legs. But let your head come along for the ride. It's really interested in seeing what's in that foot and move from the foot first. Invert, evert. Take one or two more. The signature move. Lovely right foot. And then take that out. All right. You can take both legs out, just shake them for a moment. Check to see you're still comfortable. Remember that you can be sitting on a wall. So all of this can be done lying down if once you know the movements a little bit. But I like to do them seated. I tend to do a better job moving my head around. So now we'll work with the left leg. You can leave your right leg extended or leave the foot on the ground. That's up to you. Support your spine, so we don't want to be rounded. Keep your heart open. And then we'll start with the left knee bent. Slide the left leg away. Reach the toes and the ball of foot of the way away from you. So there's your plantar flexion. Let it go. And do just the foot first. Slide it towards you. Push into the heel and the ball of the foot. Lift the toes. Spread the toes. Let it go. And we're just doing that movement. Plantar flexion, release. Slide it towards you, dorsiflexion, release. I do this so often, it's hard for me to do it without including my head and neck. And so really that's the challenge sometimes. Can you break those patterns down once they become involuntary? But for the sake of moving on, let's add the head to this. So next time you lift your toes, think lift your nose. Let the toes follow the nose. And then let that go. Slide your foot away, reach the ball of the foot, reach your nose. So we're making the back of the neck long versus dumping the head forward. The ears still stay over the shoulders. Release that. Foot comes toward you, toes lift, head lifts. And releasing. Go really slow. Notice anything you can notice in the foot, the ankle, even your eyes, right? Eyes opened or closed. Feel the eyes go back in the sockets. Feel it come forward into your eyelids. All of your gates of perception are available to you. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth. And they're just very gentle movements. for the neck. Jaw is relaxed. You can notice that too as the nose comes forward towards the toes and the legs extended. You might sense the way the jaw kind of closes up. The bottom jaw comes into the top teeth, or the bottom teeth come into the top. And then as you lift, can you just let your jaw drop open? Okay. Let's switch to the other version of this, which means we're going to look in the opposite direction. So as the toes extend and reach away, and you get that stretch through the top of your ankle, take your nose up. So feel yourself increase the curve in your neck as you compress the sole of the foot. And then release that. Slide the leg towards you. As you lift and stretch the sole of the foot, you bring your chin down towards your chest and lengthen the back of the neck. Throat is compressed. And release. Take your time exploring. Listen to your breath. So anytime we do something that's not a breath-centered movement, we just want to be aware of breath, that it's still flowing and comfortable, it's not agitated in any way. Whoops, I looked the wrong way. It takes some focus. Take the last one here. And then let that go. And we'll do our invert, evert, toilet paper gum routine. So wherever you need to put your right leg so it's out of the way or whatever works for you. Left leg starts long. You can feel yourself on your sits bones. That's really important too. We might be starting to slide back towards the sacred sacrum, so come forward onto your sit bones. That's why it's nice sometimes to keep something underneath the knee, keep a bend there. But draw the big toe side of the left foot towards your base of your spine or inner calf and let that go. Just do that a few times. There's your invert of your foot. And then if you'd like, you can invert and try to look at the foot and notice the stretch to the left side of the neck and the compression in the right side of the neck. So shoulders stay relaxed. If that feels all good and you want a little more, invert it, slide it, and really take a look at the sole of your foot. Slide it back out. And we go the opposite way. Feel the pinky toe side of your foot. Draw it towards your outer shin. Just do that. Get used to that maneuver. It's probably a new maneuver. Feel the muscles tighten in the outer calf. And then if you want to add to that, you're just looking at the pinky toe side, dropping the head, feeling that stretch through the right side of the neck. Or you can also do that and slide the foot towards you and really take a gaze at the pinky toe side of the foot. Slide it out. Big toe side. Slide it in. Check and see what's under there. Slide it out, relax. So do a few at your pace. And noticing that you're initiating the movement from your foot and your neck. They have this beautiful bond. And they want to see each other and play together. Especially the creases of the toes. Take one or two more with this lovely left side. Nice movement for your joints in your leg as well. And then take it out. All right, so let's take our assessment once again. Place your feet on the ground. And just let yourself drop in. Let your arms come around your shins. Head can drop. Feel the spaciousness in the back and spine and let it all relax. Let the belly fall into the thighs. And slowly, I like to use my inhalation. I imagine the inhalation has some buoyancy. And every time I inhale, I just come up a little bit. And no hurry to see where my gaze lands. Let the buoyancy of the inhale slowly lift you up. Shoulders relaxed. And go as far as you can once again without forcing it. So here's the amazement part to me. I did this morning and I still gained. Usually I don't gain that much if I've already done it. But notice for yourself, remember if you found that special speckle on your ceiling. Where is that speckle now? And is it more comfortable? Do you feel more free in your shoulders, your head, your neck? And then we'll just reassess a little bit with the walking too. So as you feel ready, take yourself to a standing position. Get back on your beautiful feet, those feelers for your spine. And take a walk around. I'm staying on camera. You don't have to. But center yourself on the arches of the feet. Relax your ears over your shoulders over your hips. And stack your juicy diaphragm in the center. And then begin to walk. And you can go heel to toe, but center. Feel yourself from the centers of your feet. Remember those clown shoes. And let your ankles find their full range of motion. And notice your feet hitting the ground, but also what it feels like now for your head and your neck and your shoulders. Are they riding differently? Are they more relaxed? So the trick is only as cool as, is it practical? Can you feel a difference now when you walk? Are you more in a comfortable gait, right? A steady, easeful gait. Where is your head landing? So for me, I'll just make this comment and you can all comment. I'm about to come over. I sense that my head is riding a little further back now than where it was. My shoulders are further back because I think I was probably slightly forward before. And so with working with the feet and the neck, there's this natural realignment that occurs. So just notice for yourself. And I'm going to come back over. We didn't finish with a scan today because I wanted to keep you walking and feeling today, but you're always welcome to do so. I am here up at the screen and I'm going to take my hands to my heart, just letting you know that the practice has officially finished and offering you peace, joy, love and light, and go happy, joyful places with your feet. Use your feet to help others. That's my request for today's practice, but I'll still be here for any questions and comments.